Hi kids, welcome back to my kitchen. I've got another story for you today that I wrote last spring when the pandemic started and we were home teaching remotely, and out my window every other day or so was a pheasant that just kept calling out and squawking every day, and he was right in my yard on a daily basis. So I came up with the idea for this story, and it's called The Lonely Pheasant. And of course, it's by Mrs. Roberts. So enjoy. Here we go. There once was a pheasant that lost his way. During the fall, there were all kinds of pheasants frolicking around the fields. But as the weather changed, and the cold winds started to blow. Here's my pheasant. The frolicking pheasants in the fall. The pheasant found he was alone. Winter had set in. The winter was long and lonely. Here he is in the night, snow falling on him. Our poor pheasant, all alone. Once spring arrived, Pheasant decided it was time to find a friend. He didn't want to be lonely anymore. Each day he wandered through a huge cornfield calling out, "Squawk, squawk, squawk." On Monday, he called out, "Squawk, squawk, squawk." A crow answered back, "Caw, caw, caw." Pheasant told the crow he was lonely. "Can I stay with you?" he asked. The crow cawed again and asked, "Can you fly high in the sky and soar on a breeze?" Pheasant sadly said, "No," and continued on his way. On Tuesday, he called out again, "Squawk, squawk, squawk." A deer answered his call, "Snort, snort, snort." The pheasant was excited to get a reply. "Hey, could I hang out with you?" he asked. The deer snorted again and asked, "Can you bound across the field?" The pheasant shook his head, "No," and continued on his way. And here's our deer. On Wednesday, Pheasant called out, "Squawk, squawk, squawk." A woodchuck called back with a whistling sound. "Oh, Mr. Woodchuck, I've been so lonely." "Can I move in with you?" Pheasant asked. The woodchuck gave a long whistle. He said, "Can you dig a deep tunnel in the ground and dive into it when there's danger?" The pheasant looked at the woodchuck and sighed. "No," he said, and he continued on his way. Okay, notice the fencing. Okay, we're getting closer and closer to a farm. On Thursday, Pheasant called out, "Squawk, squawk, squawk." A chipmunk came scurrying over and called, "Chirp, chirp, chirp." "Little chipmunk, I'm all alone, and I could use a friend. Can I stay with you? Pheasant asked. Little Chipmunk chirped again and inquired, can you scurry around quick as a wink? Can you dive into a little hole if there's a hawk overhead? Pheasant looked at the hole. He said he couldn't. And he continued on his way. Now I want you to look. Here's our little chipmunk. Who's in the background? Let's take a look. It's a fox. And see what we have here. See what happens. On Friday, the pheasant called out, "Squawk, squawk, squawk." At first, there was no reply at all. Then, suddenly, there was a rushing sound and yum, yum, yum! Yikes! A fox! The pheasant was so startled, he burst into the sky in a flush. He flew until he came to the edge of the field and landed in a fenced area. He would rather be lonely than get eaten by a fox. There he stayed the night. And here's that fox that was hiding. Went after him. And he jumps up. And where do you think he landed? Let's find out. On Saturday, the pheasant woke up early when he heard cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo. Out of the chicken coop came a rooster and a brood of hens. Pheasant told them his story. The chickens looked at each other silently and came to an agreement. You can stay here with us. There's no need to continue on your way. Now you can have lots of friends. Pheasant was so excited. He squawked and squawked and squawked. Here's our rooster crowing at the morning sun. The chickens are all saying he now has a place to stay. He'll have friends and a home. On Sunday, Pheasant rested. He had found a new home and he was no longer lonely. He was enjoying the happy beginning of the rest of his life when he heard a lonely call. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Who's without a friend now in the field? And look who's watching. Mr. Fox. The end. Okay, like I said, I came up with that story when I was teaching remotely, and that real life pheasant kept coming up and visiting me in my yard. So I hope you enjoyed our story, and kids, I will see you soon. Okay, bye.